The Colosseum is part of a complex of buildings closely linked to it, defined as an amphitheater complex. The Colosseum was indeed used for gladiatorial shows and other public events. Through underground and surface roads it was connected to buildings used for preparations, from the Neronian vestibule, also used as a depot for machines, to the Nymphaeum. But what is the history of the Flavian Amphitheater? Following the death of Neron, 68 AD, between the end of 70 and 71 AD, the construction of the Colosseum began under Emperor Titus Flavius Vespasian. The construction work lasted only 9 years and the inauguration took place in 80 AD under the reign of Titus, Vespasian's son. The proceeds from the looting of the Holy Temple of Jerusalem dating back to when, in August or September of 70 AD, Titus's legions conquered the Judaic city were used for the creation of this work. In fact, the Flavian intervention affected the entire basin area, thus including other auxiliary buildings annexed to the amphitheater, which seem to have been already planned in Vespasian's initial project. The undeniable evidence of this is the connection galleries between these buildings and the amphitheater itself, made concurrently with the foundational works. For the entire complex of large works on an area of at least 7 hectares, the times were much longer, up to the late reign of Domitian, about 20 years from the start of the site. Where the Colosseum stands today, before the fire of July 18, 64 AD that destroyed in 6 days and 7 nights much of the center of Rome, there was the Domus Aurea, the residence of Nero. Presumably, the area of the Colosseum was occupied by a small lake as part of the residence, a few steps from the vestibule where Nero's Colossus stood. This was a bronze statue over 30 meters high commissioned by Nero himself and made between 64 and 68 AD by the sculptor Zenodorus. Only the base remained, which was demolished in 1936 for archaeological site renovation works. It is likely that the Colosseum takes its name precisely from its colossal dimensions, although this association seems to be of medieval origin. Between 70 and 79 AD, Vespasian began the construction works of the arena floor and the Colosseum as we see it now. Legend tells that the architect who designed the Colosseum was a certain Gaudenzio, a Roman noble. It is also said that the same Gaudentius was killed right within the walls of the Colosseum in 83 AD, or after 93 AD when the persecutions of Christians began by Emperor Domitian. The legend was born in the 17th century, and finds inspiration in the interpretation of an inscription preserved in a crypt in the Church of Saints Luca and Martina, located in the Roman Forum. In fact, we can easily identify the names of the sponsors of Roman monuments. More difficult are the names of architects and designers, often equated with laborers and not mentioned, therefore, in historical writings. Vespasian died at the age of 69 on June 23, 79 AD. He was succeeded by his son Titus Flavius Caesar Vespasian Augustus, known for his commitment to the Roman people and his extensive program of public works, including the advancement of the works of the Flavian Amphitheater. Under his reign the third and fourth order of seats were made. Vespasian will therefore never see the work he started and will not participate in the inauguration that will take place under the reign of his son Titus in 80 AD. Emperor Titus will give his people 100 days of festivities, consisting of gladiatorial fights, hunting shows, capital executions, and even a naumachia, or a naval battle. When Titus dies, in 81 AD, his brother Caesar Domitian Augustus Germanicus, the last of the Flavian dynasty, comes to power, who will complete the works started by Vespasian, making important modifications to the hypogeum and completing the construction of the meta-sedans. Domitian will also build a complex system of underground masonry replacing the wooden works. These undergrounds had different functions related to the shows. Here there were rooms for the beasts, for those condemned to death, for the gladiators, for the machines. However, these changes no longer allowed the arena to be flooded, and naumachia became impossible. From Domitian onwards, the arena was reserved for munera, the gladiator games, and venationes, the hunts of wild animals. Circular in shape and truncated conical in form, the meta-sedans was a striking fountain whose construction was completed by Domitian. About 18 meters high, from the top descended 4 streams of water that filled a lower basin. There were several projects for the revaluation of the archaeological sites surrounding the Colosseum as early as the early 1800s, but what remained of the meta-sedans was demolished along with the base of Nero's Colossus between 1933 and 1936 as part of a redevelopment project wanted by Duce Benito Mussolini. The Colosseum is oval in shape, has a height of 48.5 meters. Its major axis is 188 meters, the minor axis of 156. Its circumference is 527 meters for 3,357 square meters. The entire structure is made up of 80 radial walls arranged on elliptical foundations that converge from the perimeter to the arena. These walls support the vaults, which in turn hold the white marble steps. Externally, corresponding to the light between the radial walls are the arches, through which the staircases leading to the various sectors of the cavea were reached. Above each of the arches still standing today is indicated the progressive number corresponding to the tessera of the spectators who attended the shows. For the construction of the Colosseum, travertine was primarily used from the nearby Albuli mines of Tibur, present-day Tivoli, on carts that passed over 20 kilometers of road made precisely for this purpose. 750,000 tons of squared stone, 8,000 tons of marble, 6,000 tons of compound, and 300 tons of iron were also used. Finally, the stuccos that decorated the surfaces, the wood used for the floors, and Vespasian's hypogeum. To the east and west we find the maneuvering rooms, connected to the cryptoporticus, under which there were the channels and were connected to the galleries functional to the hypogeum site. To the south was the entrance reserved for the emperor and his family, while to the north was the entrance for the authorities, from the senators to the vestals, to the priests. To the east, on the surface, is the Porta Libitinaria, used for the exit of the fighters, both alive and dead in battle, while at the hypogeum level is the entrance of the gladiators arriving from the Ludus Magnus. To the west, there is the Porta Triumphalis, used for the grand entrance of the gladiators, musicians, and the procession. In addition to the physical tour, the Colosseum also offers a virtual tour. These new technologies allow you to experience the atmosphere of the gladiatorial shows in an immersive and realistic way. With the use of a mobile device, it is now possible to walk through the arena and the underground areas, and witness the rise of the elevators or the grand entrance of a gladiator. The multimedia content can be enjoyed in various languages, including English. From the terraces, the top floors of the Colosseum offer a breathtaking view of Rome. With a backdrop of the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill, it's possible to admire the spectacular panorama of the city and its ancient ruins. The Colosseum's state of conservation is due to numerous restorations and interventions over the centuries, aimed at preserving its structure from the wear of time and elements. A recent major restoration project, completed in 2016 and financed by the Italian shoe magnate Tod's, cleaned and stabilized the outer arcades, as well as the underground levels. The Colosseum is undoubtedly one of the most iconic and impressive monuments of Rome, and indeed the world. The grandeur of its architecture, the history it carries within its walls, and the incredible feats of engineering it displays are all part of what makes it a symbol of the Eternal City and the Roman Empire. Visiting it is an unforgettable experience, allowing you to delve into the world of the ancient Romans and marvel at their architectural and engineering achievements.